Hey guys, it's Saga from TechWorks. It seems that right now, POCO F1 is the only smartphone that anyone cares about. So in this video, we will look at the cameras on this phone. I actually had this video edited and exported 2 days back, and then POCO just went ahead and released a software update which is set to improve some aspects of the camera. So I went out again to take new image and video samples. All of the images that you will see in this video are shot after the 9.6.18 update. The primary camera on the POCO F1 has a 12 megapixel sensor with f1.9 aperture, a large pixel size of 1.4 micron, and it uses dual pixel technology for autofocus. Secondary camera has a 5 megapixel sensor with f2.2 aperture, and this camera is only used for sensing depth information for portrait shots. You can shoot 4K videos at 30 frames per second, 1080p at 30, 120 and 240 frames per second, and 720p videos at 120 and 240 fps. There is no optical image stabilization on either of the lenses, and only 1080p 30 fps videos get electronic stabilization. At the front, there is a 20 megapixel selfie camera with f2.2 aperture. Camera interface is pretty similar to the MIUI 2 with an exception of the AI button at the top. Once enabled, the AI mode can detect and differentiate between 25 categories of objects and up to 206 different scenes and change the camera settings accordingly so you get better images. Get ready for a lot of image and video samples from this phone. But before that, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of the amazing videos coming up on this channel. Xiaomi wants us to believe that the POCO F1 is a flagship level smartphone, and they know that nowadays having a good set of cameras is just as important as having a flagship level processor. Fortunately, we had bright blue sky for a few minutes, so we can see that the daylight images have ample amount of details. The sharpness is on point and the overall images look very pleasing. Even as we move away from direct light, POCO F1 does well to capture good amount of detail with proper level of contrast. It captures good looking colors when there is ample light. But in diffuse light or in overcast conditions like these, some of its images show a lot warmer color tones. So in these conditions, it is not the best at capturing perfect white balance while shooting in the auto mode. All these images have been captured with the auto HDR turned on. The phone does really well on its own to determine when it needs to capture HDR images. In these situations, it did really well to keep most of the details in the brighter parts of the images, and at the same time, it brought back a lot of details from the shadows, making the overall image look good. Here are few images with and without AI mode turned on. In this image, AI mode detected leaves or trees and then decided to bring up the shadows, bump up the saturation and bring up the overall exposure. In this image, it detected clouds and again brought up the shadows and added a bit of saturation and sharpness. Here, it detected a building or architecture, brought up the exposure and added a lot of saturation, contrast and sharpness. This phone is very good at detecting the scene, but whether or not it applies the right settings after that is worth finding out. Honestly, I personally prefer the images with AI mode turned off. I can just have the HDR mode turned on and get similar results, or even better, I would much rather capture the original image and edit these images in Lightroom or Snapseed myself to make them look better. For me, AI mode was just a gimmick and I turned it off in almost all of my other shots. I have seen some reviews stating that the AI mode is good because it doesn't just increase the saturation and sharpness in all of the shots. But in my testing and from all these image samples, I can say that is all it really does. Now don't get me wrong, it's just a matter of personal choice. If you like the images with AI mode, you can go ahead and leave it on for all of your shots. Here is a quick focusing test before we move on to the close-up and macro shots. It uses dual pixel autofocus technology, so it has no issues in switching the focus from far to near objects very quickly. Once the camera sets its focus, you can see that these close-up and macro shots are really good. Minimum focusing distance of this camera is very good, so you can get really close to the subject. Thanks to the f1.9 aperture, the background is blurred out very nicely, leaving the subject in perfect sharp focus. Now keep in mind that these are just normal close-up shots and not portrait shots. Speaking of portrait shots, here are a few examples. The 5 megapixel secondary camera is used to sense the depth information, while the primary camera keeps the subject in sharp focus. There is nice separation in the subject and the background, and the blurring seems natural and not artificial like we see on some of the other phones. It is however not perfect at detecting the edges, and the main subject might appear a bit softer at times. I'm sure that this is a software issue and it can be fixed or improved with software updates. Now, just as with humans, the portrait mode does a very good job with non-human objects as well. You can see how good it is at detecting the edges and separating the subject from the background. I think it is doing a better job of capturing portrait images of objects compared to humans. It also handles the exposure of the scene really well and shows very accurate colors in these situations. Now as we move on to artificial or lower lighting situations, we see some amount of noise creeping in. Even without optical image stabilization, it still managed to capture ample amount of details given the lighting conditions. Turning on the HDR mode will help you keep some of the noise down, but then the images are not very sharp. With the HDR mode disabled, you will get a bit of noise, but the images are much sharper. It continues to capture good colors in these situations, and there are no warm tones as we saw in some of its daylight images. Even without the optical image stabilization, you will rarely notice a blurry image while shooting in lower light. It also manages to capture a lot of light, and some of its images might even appear brighter than the actual scene. On its own, the low light images are really good, but we definitely need to test it out against the likes of MIUI 2, Zenfone 5Z and even the OnePlus 6 to see where it stands in comparison. The 20 megapixel front facing camera captures detailed and sharp selfies when there is ample light. I really love that this phone lets you click images with its fingerprint sensor, which means you end up with less blurred images. This is a simple solution, and I think it should be a default feature on all the phones which have rear-facing fingerprint sensors. It uses pixel binning technology to combine information from 4 pixels into one super pixel, and this really helps in taking sharper selfies in lower lighting situations. You can also take portrait selfies with this phone, and the images are really good. It does very well at detecting the edges and separating the subject from the background. It might miss a few strands of hair here and there, but the overall images are very pleasing, and I would also say they are much better than the portrait selfies of the OnePlus 6. Here is a video from the front-facing camera of the POCO F1. You can see how the stabilization is and how it handles the color and the exposures of the scene. While shooting this video, I had the electronic stabilization turned on, but the front-facing camera doesn't seem to support EIS as of now. I really hope they add this feature in one of the future software updates. You can shoot 4K videos in 30 FPS. These videos are not stabilized, and for some reason, POCO F1 adds a lot of saturation to these 4K videos. 1080p 30 FPS videos do get electronic stabilization. These videos are nice and smooth and show a good amount of detail. This phone packs in the same processor as the OnePlus 6, but sadly, Xiaomi hasn't enabled 4K 60 FPS or 720p 480 FPS video recording. We do get 1080p slow motion videos at up to 240 frames per second, and here are a couple of examples of it. There is also an option to record 1080p time-lapse videos, and the time-lapse that you saw at the starting of this video is actually captured with the POCO F1. After looking at over 60 image and video samples, we can definitely say that in daylight it takes really good and sharp images. There are plenty of details in almost every shot, and I'm really happy with the dynamic range that it offers. For me, the AI mode was not particularly helpful. It is smart at detecting the scene, but it can't really do a lot to improve the images after that, so I would much rather prefer to leave it off. If you prefer the saturated and sharp images from the AI mode, you can leave it on as it's a matter of personal preference. Portrait mode images are good, possibly the best in a device that costs around 20,000 rupees, but like with every other smartphone, there is a scope of improvement with future software updates. POCO F1 also did surprisingly well in lower lighting conditions. Its images are filled with details, and even with the lack of OIS, it was able to capture a lot of light. We will have to compare and check its performance against the OnePlus 6 and the Asus Zenfone 5Z, but looking at these low light images, I am sure it is going to be a very close competition. 1080p videos are good and smooth, and having the ability to shoot 240 FPS videos in 1080p resolution is a treat. I would have loved to see some sort of electronic stabilization for 4K videos. Hopefully Xiaomi will add it in one of the future software updates. For the price of 20,000 rupees, I think you can't get a set of better cameras than this, at least right now. But that's it. It is better than other phones in and around this price range, but don't expect it to outperform or even match the performance of the Pixel 2 or the Samsung Galaxy S9. After all, keep in mind that it's a 20,000 rupees phone. If you are in the market for a phone of this price, look no further than the POCO F1. With a very good set of cameras, you also get other things like top of the line processor, faster storage, and all around better performance. I'm already working on comparing these cameras with the MIUI 2 for my next video, cause I know many of you want to know the difference in their camera performances as these are priced very close to each other. What are your thoughts about the camera on this POCO F1? Has it impressed you? Let me know in the comments. That is it for this video guys. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed this video and subscribe to the channel for more quality tech videos like this. You can also check out some of the other videos from this channel. This has been Sagar and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care.